My husband showed up at my kitchen at 7 a.m. with a lawyer in a suit on a Tuesday, and I was still holding my morning coffee. He slid papers across my kitchen counter. His lawyer stood there smiling. My husband said, "Sign these now. The house is already in my name." I looked at the papers, then I looked at him, then I looked up at the small camera in the corner of the ceiling, the one he forgot we installed together 2 years ago. Every single word, every document shown, every threat made, recorded, all of it. I smiled and said, "I think we should wait for my lawyer." His lawyer's smile disappeared instantly. "My name is Diana Mercer. I am 43 years old. I have been married for 14 years. I am not dramatic. I do not overreact. I simply pay attention to everything. I work as a project manager at a logistics firm. I manage timelines, contracts, and documentation for a living. My husband always joked that I was too organized. Turns out, he was right. Marcus and I met 14 years ago. He was charming, funny, and ambitious. We built everything together. The careers, the savings, the house. Everything was ours, or so I believed. We bought our home 8 years ago, both names on the mortgage, both names on the deed, equal partners. That was the agreement. That was always the agreement. About 18 months ago, Marcus changed. Late nights, private phone calls, separate bank accounts. I noticed but said nothing. I simply started keeping records. Every unusual transaction, every late night, every changed password, every new account notification that came to our joint email before he changed that too. I wrote it all down, dated, timed, documented. 6 months before the kitchen incident, I noticed large transfers from our joint account, amounts I never approved, destinations I did not recognize. I said nothing to Marcus. I called my bank instead. The bank manager confirmed the transfers were authorized using Marcus's credentials alone on a joint account, which legally required both signatures for transfers above a certain amount. He had bypassed that. Somehow, I requested full transaction records going back 2 years. The bank printed everything. I took those documents home, added them to my folder, and waited. I consulted a family attorney 3 months before that Tuesday morning. She reviewed everything I had collected. She said, "Diana, you have been preparing for this without even realizing it. Everything you need is already in your hands." My attorney confirmed the house could not legally be transferred to Marcus's name alone without my signature and consent. Whatever he was planning, it was not legally possible, but he did not know that I knew that. 2 years ago, Marcus suggested we install home security cameras, kitchen, living room, front door. I agreed. What he never thought about, those cameras recorded to a cloud account in my email that he never had access to. Every single day for 2 years, recorded and stored. I had never needed to check it until the night before that Tuesday morning when my attorney called and said, "Diana, I think something is about to happen. Be ready." That Monday night, I prepared everything, printed the bank records, organized the property documents, downloaded 3 months of CCTV footage to a USB drive. Then I went to sleep and waited for Tuesday morning. The doorbell rang at exactly 7:04 a.m. I already knew who it was. I opened the door, looked at my husband, looked at the lawyer beside him, and stepped aside to let them in. Marcus sat down like he owned the room. His lawyer placed documents on the table professionally. Marcus said, "Diana, this does not have to be complicated. Just sign the transfer papers and we can handle the rest quietly." The documents claimed I was voluntarily transferring my share of the property to Marcus, effective immediately. They had even filled in the date, a date 3 days from now. They had planned everything down to the timeline. I read every line, slowly, carefully, the way I read every contract at work. Marcus shifted in his seat, his lawyer checked his watch. They expected fear, they expected me to fold. I kept reading. I placed the papers down, folded my hands, and said, "Marcus, before I sign anything, I need to make one phone call." His lawyer said, "Mrs. Mercer, I assure you everything here is legally sound." I said, "I am sure it is. One phone call." I called my attorney, put her on speaker, said, "My husband is here with his lawyer. They have transfer documents for the property." She said, "Do not sign anything. I'm on my way. Do not let them leave." Marcus stood up, said, "This is unnecessary, Diana." I said, "Sit down, Marcus. My attorney is coming, and while we wait, I want you to look up at that camera in the corner, the one you installed. It has been recording since 7:04 a.m. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I had ever heard in 14 years of marriage. My attorney arrived 20 minutes later. She reviewed the documents on the spot. Then she looked at Marcus's lawyer and said, "Your client has attempted to execute an unauthorized property transfer on a jointly owned asset. I assume you are aware of the legal implications of that." Marcus's lawyer went very quiet. He began collecting his documents. He said, "We may need to revisit the approach here." Marcus slammed his hand on the table, said, "You told me this was airtight." The lawyer said nothing. They left. No signatures, no transfer, no quiet resolution, just two men walking out of my kitchen into the morning light with nothing they came for. I closed the door and exhaled for the first time since 7 a.m. My attorney and I spent the next 2 hours reviewing everything: the CCTV footage, the bank records, the unauthorized transfers, the attempted property document. Layer by layer, the full picture emerged. Marcus had been planning this for at least 6 months. The footage captured everything: his lawyer explaining the transfer strategy, Marcus confirming he had already moved money from joint accounts, 7 minutes and 40 seconds of evidence that neither of them knew existed. My attorney said, "Diana, this footage, combined with the bank records, constitutes clear evidence of financial misconduct within the marriage. We are filing immediately, today." After she left, I sat alone in my kitchen for a long time. I thought about 14 years, the good ones, the ones where I believed we were building something real, and I thought about the moment I realized we weren't. He spent 6 months building a plan to take everything. I spent 2 years unknowingly building the evidence to stop him. Sometimes protection doesn't look like protection until the moment you need it most. The court date arrived 6 weeks later. Marcus walked in confident. His new lawyer carried a thick folder of counterarguments. I carried a USB drive and an organized folder of documents that had been building for 2 years. When my attorney submitted the CCTV footage as primary evidence, the courtroom went completely silent. The judge asked for it to be played immediately. His own voice filled that courtroom, calm, detailed, explaining exactly how he planned to transfer the property, exactly which accounts he had moved money into, exactly how long he had been planning it. 6 months of planning played in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. The judge looked at Marcus's attorney, then at Marcus, then said, "Counsel, I strongly advise your client on his options before we proceed any further with these proceedings." 3 hours of proceedings followed. The unauthorized bank transfers were examined. The property transfer attempt was examined. The 6 months of financial activity was examined. Every layer Marcus had built dismantled one document at a time. The judge ruled all unauthorized asset transfers were to be reversed immediately. The property remained jointly owned pending full divorce proceedings. Marcus was ordered to provide complete financial disclosure within 30 days. Everything he moved came back. We walked out of that courthouse into the afternoon sun. My attorney shook my hand and said, "You did this, Diana. Every document, every record, every piece of evidence, you built this case before you even knew you needed it." Marcus sat on the courthouse steps alone for a long time afterward. His lawyer had already left. I did not approach him. I had nothing left to say. The courtroom had said everything. I drove home, walked into my kitchen, made a fresh coffee, stood in the exact spot where he had slid those papers across the counter at 7 a.m. 6 weeks ago, and I thought, this is still my kitchen. It was always my kitchen. The divorce proceedings took 4 more months. Every asset was properly divided, every account properly settled, every unauthorized transfer properly reversed. I lost 14 years of marriage, but I lost nothing that was legally mine. I went back to work, back to managing timelines and contracts and documentation. My colleagues noticed I seemed different, calmer somehow. One of them asked if I was okay. I said, I am better than okay. I am organized. The cameras are still there, still recording, still storing to the cloud account in my email. Marcus suggested we install them to keep us safe. In the end, they did exactly that, just not the way he expected. The house is mine now, fully, legally. Every room, every corner, every camera in every corner, mine. He thought he could walk into my kitchen at 7 a.m. and take it from me with a lawyer and a smile. He forgot I built this home too. He brought a lawyer to intimidate me. He forgot I live in that house. He forgot whose name is on that camera system. He forgot that the woman who manages contracts for a living keeps copies of everything. And he forgot I never needed to raise my voice. I just needed the recording. If someone is trying to take what is yours, document everything. Say nothing until the right moment. Let the evidence speak. And remember, the most powerful thing in any room is not the loudest voice. It is the most prepared person. Subscribe if you believe in quiet justice. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. And never forget, your name on that document means something. Protect it.